everybody. Welcome back to episode 37 of the Eyes Wide Open podcast.
37.
Yes, we have a very special guest today. As you guys can see in the title, it is my dad from episode 1. He's back 37 episodes later. Well, 36 episodes
Last
later.
episode.
That's what he says. But I'm just so happy that you're back, Dad. You can introduce yourself to the people. Which one?
Hi, I'm Dad.
You guys could just call him Dad, I guess. But make sure you guys check the links below in the Insta bio to follow all my social media handles. Check out my other content on this channel. And if you are just listening audibly, make sure that you go to my YouTube channel and watch all my other content there too, okay? Let's get into the episode today. I know you guys are all curious what I have in store, but it's just like a mini dad-daughter chit-chat interview situation where we're going to talk to you guys because I think he has a lot of wisdom and I would love for him to share some of the things, okay? So.
She said that.
I did say that. I also wanted to point out, so it's episode 37 and most of you guys know I'm into numerology. And the numerology of 37 breaks down to 10. And I thought it was really interesting because we're talking about forgiveness. And 10 is an energy of endings and beginnings. A lot of the time, once you forgive, you're ending something and beginning something new, whether that is, a grudge or a thought or just some way of feeling. So I thought it was very interesting that you come in for that episode, and that's the numerology. And I do. A lot of people don't think about that, but very true. So, Dad, let's just jump right into the questions.
Okay.
Ask some questions. Okay.
Fire away.
Why do you think forgiveness in general is important?
From my perspective, it's something you do for yourself. It's important that you're able to forgive because it actually helps you. It doesn't allow anything or anyone to have that much power or control over you. So when you're forgiving someone, you're doing it more for yourself than for them. Mm-hmm. And sure, you want to be able to do that. You don't want to hold on to misgivings or hurt or wrongdoing, no matter if it's perpetrated toward you or you toward someone else. Mm-hmm. You need to let it go and not push it forward or take it forward in your life. It's very destructive.
I agree wholeheartedly. I've always learned forgiveness within self is very, very key. Something you guys taught me. It's actually something I struggle with. It's very hard because I can be hard on myself. So like letting some of that stuff go when I don't hold up to expectation I think I have of myself is super, super hard for me to forgive myself. But I work on it. I always think about what you guys tell me. But speaking of that, do you think forgiveness is just within self, with God above, with fellow man? Like how do you feel like those come into play? Because they're like the same, but also very different in how you have to approach.
Well, I don't want to go toward the normal of we run to the Bible with
Right.
forgiveness.
Right.
Forgiveness is basically we're learned and taught it from an early age. Mm-hmm. When you have spats with your siblings or your friends when you're just 3, 4, 5, 6 years old.
Right.
Your parents tell you if you're getting on a spot, okay, y'all make up.
Mm-hmm,
you guys
mm-hmm.
make up. So it starts there. We just may not capture it, but we're starting to learn it at a younger age. And we may actually evolve to understanding it by, reading your Bible, mm-hmm. Being in church, being around a faith-giving group, or being with spiritual groups. You'll learn the true meaning of forgiveness. So that's my take on it. That it's something you have to learn over your lifetime. Mm-hmm. And it's not always going to be easy. We deal with feelings and they're real.
Feelings bring a whole nother aspect to forgiveness, don't they?
They're real.
How old were you when you had your first like impactful experience with forgiveness? Like you talked about like, when we're kids and stuff and that like sibling situations happen, but like first time you really had a situation happen where you had to like I gotta open up my heart very deep beyond what I'm used to and actually forgive this because maybe at one point it was like unforgivable. I'll never forgive somebody for this, but
those are kind of tough to really talk about because when it's something like that, it's usually very personal. And I would just defer to one in a situation where being a young teenager, I grew up in a neighborhood where playing the dozen was an easy thing, and I never cared for anybody to say insult or talk about my mom. It was those are fighting words.
You weren't enjoying that.
I didn't do that. And I would always let the guys know I don't play the dozens.
Right.
You can talk about me, but don't say anything about my mom. And so I got in a pretty good fight with one of the guys in the neighborhood. And prior to that, we had been friends, for years. And this just escalated to a point where it turned to fisticuff. We're fighting. And I remember what my mom said. You need to go make up with y'all. Been friends for so long. You need to go make up with them. And I was like, I'm not doing that. He said this and he said that, and justifying what I did,
right,
or what happened,
right.
And she said, so you willing to live with him not being your friend, and you guys mad at one another over this, him saying something about me, and you can't forgive that, and knowing Mildred Mills, my mom, she breaks out the Bible and with everything, and she kind of steered me right to the path of, hey, go ask your brother for forgiveness, no matter how many times it takes, go ask him for forgiveness.
Right.
And it's not forgiving him for him, it's forgiving him for you. You're mad because of something he said about me.
Right.
He didn't say it about you, he said it about me. He doesn't even know anything about me. He's having fun and you're
taking it too personal.
Yes.
Right.
So that was probably one of the episodes I can give without getting too personal with my own personal life, because some things I'm just not gonna. Some of the skeletons gonna stay in the closet.
Understandable.
But I moved past a lot of things in my life with the power of forgiveness, because I just refuse to let anyone have that much power or control over my thought process and me.
Exactly. I very much so respect that. Do you feel like there is a right and a wrong or a wrong time to forgive somebody?
No.
Okay.
No, it's actually easier to go and take that task on immediately than to hold on, because the longer you wait, the more things fester.
Well, so though I have a question. What about like people can say they forgive, but like then they still like hold on, and that's what I mean. I guess sometimes like make sure that you really like process like the feelings prior to like feeling like you just have to forgive to forgive. Like, yes, it's good to, but you want to make sure that you at least somewhat like, you know what I'm saying? Like have that understanding moving forward, bring it back up repeatedly. It's not, you know what I'm saying? Exactly.
You haven't found it inside of your heart to forgive. If it's still coming up, still surfacing, you're still holding on. So that person still you hadn't accepted forgiveness, because that person still has a control over you, how you feel. You're carrying this forward. You're holding on.
And that's what I mean. And like if a person still has that within, you might think you're doing the right thing by like, you know what I'm saying? Like offering that up. Like, I think sometimes people feel like I'm supposed to go forgive versus actually, do you get what I mean? Like internally, like dealing with it and forgiving. And I just sometimes think that
But
that's conditioned,
when we
like
talk
your
about
conditioning.
forgiveness is something you have to have inside to actually move yourself forward.
I agree.
If you truly value your life and what you're doing and impacting and you're saying your life, I really live my life to the fullest. Then how are you living it to the fullest if you're holding on to something that you said you let go of?
Right.
When you let go, you let go.
Right.
And what I was always taught to do that works for me, when I'm in that position where I've asked for forgiveness or told someone that, hey, whatever, if I did something, I made my apologies and I
Of course.
asked them, to accept my apologies, and I move forward with that path of forgiveness. I've given it to God to let God sort out everything because He knows my heart. I truly mean I forgive somebody. I'm not going to go forward worrying about how that person feels toward me anymore, or I'm not harboring any of those ill thoughts or whatever toward them. I forgave them for what they've done.
Exactly.
Or, asked them to forgive me for what I've done.
Makes a lot of sense.
And so I'm able to move forward with my life and not let it dictate or cloud my mind every day up with it. I'm thinking about it. I'm bringing it up. I'm resurfacing. I'm able to move forward with my life, my thought processes, and not let that be a hindrance.
Right.
Like I said, we're dealing with feelings, and we have a tendency to get so caught up into those feelings
Right.
that there's nothing better than to know that you genuinely in your heart can forgive somebody and move on.
Right.
Because you're not holding that grudge.
1,000%.
When I see you again, I can say, hey,
Hey,
Kiah,
how are you?
doing?
Genuinely.
You okay? I'm genuinely okay with that. And, some people worry about, I don't want to get my feelings hurt. Hey, they're feelings.
Exactly.
We're humans, we have them.
Yep.
But, when you genuinely forgive someone, there's nothing to hold on to.
Right.
You let it
Very
all
true.
go. Some people use the term, I just put it all in God's hands.
Yeah, that's so
know.
true. Yes. I never really coupled the two, but very true. I agree with you. Well, before we move forward into the next little questions, I just wanted to let all of you know, if you're still listening, check out the Caution Women at Play podcast. That will be going on tonight. It's Wednesday. We have a fun little episode. Put my plug in. Exactly. You know how it is, Dad. So put the plug in. You guys make sure that you follow the YouTube page. We go live on Facebook and YouTube on Wednesdays. Follow the link in the Insta bio below. That says Caution Women at Play right there. Take you everywhere you want to go. Okay. Let's get back into the forgiveness segments, okay? So, I actually asked Darius, your youngest son, my baby brother, of course, I asked him what he felt that he learned from you about forgiveness. And I'm going to pull it up on my phone because I actually think that it's here for you. Okay. In regards to forgiveness, what do you feel like you have learned from Dad?
My best experience with that is you learn to forgive yourself and then forgive others, even if they've wronged you for many different reasons. You can't just go around holding a grudge against someone for days, months, years at a time, because you're not going to feel as happy as can be and can't keep going forward unless you learn to forgive yourself and forgive them. That's when you start to feel much better. Once you get that out of the way, you'll feel like a much better person at the end of it all.
Wise words from a young mind. I like it. So,
And he learned that from me.
that is what Darius said he learned from you in regards to forgiveness. It just kind of put him on the spot with the question. But I really thought it was interesting that that's like your youngest and the takeaway was so nice and so wise. You know what I mean? It just speaks to like you as parent and how much your wisdom cascades down to us as kids. So thank you. I just want to share that.
All those years of this stuff floating around in your brain, good to know somebody's paying attention to it.
We're listening. We're listening. Okay, Dad. Let's get into next question. Have you had instances or circumstances where you felt like you could never forgive somebody?
Sure. I had a lot of those. I think most people do. But those are the ones that you really have to really truly focus on. And those are the ones that take time, because usually those are the ones that hurt the worst.
Right.
And those are the ones that are really deeply personal with you in a lot of cases. And so, yeah, it's those points where you're not able to forgive right then.
Right.
But you have to understand the importance of it is that you're dealing with all that hurt, that pain, or whatever it may be. And until you're able to forgive yourself and them, you can't move forward with it, because they're still in control. They still have power over you.
Yep.
They're determining how you feel based on what was done to you. And so you feel like I can't move forward past that because it's always surfacing, or I'm always got it back here in my mind that let it pops up and pops up. I don't want to deal with that.
Right.
Forgiveness with me is genuine. I don't want to hold no grudge against anyone. Life is very precious and it's very short. And I refuse to let anyone have that much power or control over me. You don't have to like me. You know, I may not be, if you look on what I have on my Facebook page, there's a little quote. Confidence is not being everyone's cup of tea and not giving a shit.
That is you.
I can forgive and move on. I don't hold grudges. I don't harbor on to yesterday's feelings or things. And if I don't just go out and apologize for every little thing, when I genuinely know that I've done something to someone or hurt someone in any way, shape, form, or fashion, it's not a problem for me to go to that person.
Right.
And I'll go to that person as many times as I need to go to that person.
Right.
To make that right. And so that's what you do, because I want to move on with my life. I'm not going to carry these things forward. I'm not going to harbor on them. I'm not going to sit there and dwell on it. Oh, my heart is breaking. Oh, I'm crying. I'm not going to do that. No. I'll move forward.
Right.
And pray that you move forward.
Good point. I like that. Was there ever a time when you wanted forgiveness for something, but you weren't able to have it, like lost touch before you and that person could squash through things, or, you know what I mean? Like just a hard lesson about like, damn, I wish I would have.
No, because that's what forgiveness is about. I'm not worried about it. Once I've let it go, I'm not really worried about whether you forgiven me. I've forgiven myself. And I made it right for me.
Right.
Because I'm not holding on to that anymore.
Right.
And if that person still is, that's something they got to.
They have to work through
that.
They got to
dwell with that. It's basically a non-factor with what they've done to me, or what they think, or what I feel like they should have came to me and did this, did that. No, I'm able to walk past that with the power of forgiving them, and hey, I did that for me because of what they did or what they don't do. I'm fine.
What kind of growth do you feel like you experienced when you embrace that more? This is possibly a time, I'm sure, when it was like hard for you to like get a grasp on actually forgiving, and then when you finally like opened up to that, did you feel like you noticed a difference within yourself, or like things were better for you? Were you more at peace?
That's kind of one of those things where I just never really looked at it that way. You know, I don't know. I just never really looked at it in that perspective. Being able to forgive was just it. It's not. It's something that we as children of God we're commanded to forgive.
True.
So it was never that afterthought about that.
But you know what, Dad? I agree with you, but I feel as though, for myself, I feel like as almost like conditioning. Like, it took me time to understand, like, true forgiveness of a person. Like, actually going through that, not just doing it because I wanted to do it. Or, like, because somebody said that was the right thing to do. Like, I feel like I struggled with like I forgive you because I genuinely want to, but I had not yet.
Oh.
And I didn't really like understand because it's like all I know is like I'm trying, I want to, I ain't there yet, but I want to. And all I knew was that that's how you're supposed to forgive and supposed to. You know what I mean? Like that's very conditioned like verbiage at least. Like I feel like it should just be like that genuine like it is a genuine want, but I would say getting to that process was not all like sometimes I felt like I just had to be at that point regardless.
Well, you kind of asked about what type of growth, did I experience? And I never looked at it in that term of growth because we're always constantly growing and evolving.
True.
So in each situation is different and has its own, meaning, characteristics, and everything else and flavor to it. So I never looked at it in that sense of what type of growth experience that I got because it's a continuous thing every day. Every time you encounter something like that,
I can respect that.
it's always different and it's something that you don't really. I just never thought about it in that sense.
Right.
Did I get a growth? What type of growth? What did I get from it or nothing like that? Because that never was something that entered my mind.
Makes sense. Makes sense to me. I understand it like that. I hadn't really considered it from the perspective you have either, so it was kind of, I like that, little swappy. What is something that you feel like my lovely listeners should take home about forgiveness that maybe you haven't been able to share up to this point with the questions I have asked? Like any words of wisdom, stories, specific things you would like to say or mention? It's been on your mind.
I would just say that, don't just think that forgiveness has nothing to offer you or that I am I'm above this.
Being too egotistical to actually understand.
I'm not able to, my heart is hardened. You need to go through life and realize that you shouldn't want anyone to have that much control or power over you.
Yep.
Where you're sitting there harping on how they feel or what they said.
Right.
They didn't speak to me, or I went to them to apologize and they told me, whatever. And I'm still angry. I'm still hurting. Then you need to learn to forgive yourself. Forgive them. Forgive yourself. And you do it for you. Don't
Not
ever
everybody
walk
else.
through life letting anyone have that much power or control over you.
Yep.
You deserve every moment of your life to live to the fullest.
Yep.
And what I would tell the listeners, the viewers, be able to forgive and not for what you're letting someone off the hook. Just don't put yourself on that hook.
Okay. Don't put yourself on that hook. You guys heard that. Well, that really concludes my episode. I didn't have a ton of crazy questions because I knew that you would be able to cover exactly the important message in this. But I appreciate you for coming on my show. It's been a while before we could come to this moment, but I appreciate you for coming on and for just being like my biggest supporter. My dad helped put this backdrop up, helped get the lighting all in order for me. Just everything. Just amazing. Appreciate it. Help me with my shed. This is a guy right here. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Yo,
I don't hardly have any left. But yeah, check out all the social medias, all the links below, all the other content that I have on the channel. I thank you guys for tuning in and listening. And if you enjoyed this video and you're on YouTube, make sure you thumbs up it. And if you enjoyed this video and you're listening audibly, make sure you share it with all your friends and tell them how awesome me and my dad are, okay?